As a kid, I just never really rated them. As an adult, I really rate a nice sandwich. Well, you were talking earlier about getting old, and I think one of mine is rating a good sandwich, enjoying a vest under my clothes on a cold day, and really enjoying bin storages. What's up, witches? I'm Claudia.
And I'm Jess.
And welcome to True Crime Coven.
Hello, Claudia. How are you today?
I'm alright. Can't complain.
Okay?
Could complain, won't complain.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
I can't really complain.
I was going to say, what you got to complain about? Get it off your chest,
I'm just
girl.
tired. I'm always
Fair.
tired, though.
Yeah, I know. I was like, nothing different there.
Yeah,
then,
being
is
an
it?
adult is just being tired.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Always having something to do.
Always. Like, right now, I'm like, no.
And never wanting to do it.
No.
Yeah, fair.
Got work tomorrow. Like, oh.
Yeah, I don't want to get to work tomorrow.
We've got this. We can do
We
it.
can
This is
do
uplifting
it.
for everyone, isn't it?
I
Like,
know,
oh,
literally, like,
complaining. The mood is right down.
it is.
In the gut.
We can do this.
Some
We've
of
got
us are
this.
looking up at the stuff. Oscar Wilde.
No, we can do this. We've got this.
All right. Let's do this.
We can run the hospital.
Just do it.
do it. So I'm bringing you some ghost stories today.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Should we do a little ghost story sandwich again? A little ghost story cryptid
I don't know what the
sandwich?
filling is.
A little ghost story cryptid sandwich.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A cryptid filling.
Filling can be whatever you want it to be. As long as I've written it down.
Oh. So
And
there's a cryptid filling.
Yeah, there's only one. There's only one to choose from. So, yeah, you get what you're given.
Okay. So it's anything I want as long as it's what you got.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you ready for the first story?
Yeah. Born ready.
So this story is about shadow people, and I actually got it off of Reddit. So Claudia put a post out earlier and some people replied. So we are using these with the people's permissions.
Yeah, someone put on the thing and was like, there's loads in this group. And I was like, yeah, but
We need their permission.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
like take people's stories and then they're like, if they like, oh my God, like amazing if they did, stumbled across this podcast, be like, hey,
Hey, you've used my story.
can't just take your stuff without your permission.
So if you have posted something on Reddit or somewhere else online and you are happy for us to use it and you can't be bothered to type it up again because fair enough, then do feel free to just send it to us, like tag us in it or email it to us. And
Yeah, we are on Reddit as True Crime Coven Pod.
yeah, obviously we are on our normal socials as
Normal
well.
socials.
So this story was obviously sent by someone on Reddit and their username, we think it's pronounced Uncle Jams. So sorry if we've said that wrong, but thank you for your story anyway. Mm-hmm. I've mentioned this story in another post before as it completely freaked me out. And some people have brushed it off as a night terror. Now I do have sleep paralysis, but I know in this instance I was awake. So I have always been a light sleeper, and a few weeks ago I woke up at 3:19 a.m. I always get up a few times at night to go to the bathroom anyway, so my husband and I decided to fall asleep in the living room watching a movie. Anyway, I woke up because I had to pee, but something urged me to look at my phone, which was right next to me, while I was thinking about dragging myself to get up and go to the bathroom. And then I heard something behind me. I turned around and there was this black shadow humanoid thing looking at me, crouched behind the head of the couch. It looked female in nature because of its petite shape and its long hair. It had long black hair with scraggly bangs. It gave off no reflection of light and had no type of shine in its hair or nails, not even in its eyes. The eyes almost looked like fly eyes. On its hands, it had 3 fingers and 1 thumb. I only saw one hand, but I'm sure it did have another. Now, it definitely had a pinky, an index finger and a thumb, but it looked like the middle finger and the ring finger were almost fused together because it was bigger than all the others. All the fingers were pointed. Like I said, I don't know if it had nails, but there was no definite shape. It kind of looked like the whole body was in some sort of tight leotard or something. I described it as a shadow, but not really because it did have a bit of a shape to it. Anyway, I turned and saw it crouched behind the couch. I stared at it for a few seconds and then I screamed this awful cry. As I screamed, the thing reached over and tried to touch my forehead, but I pulled away. My husband jumped and he'd never heard me yell like this before. I never even talk in my sleep. Usually I'm the one trying to wake him up from a bad dream because he cries out in his sleep or he snores really bad. To this day, I swear it was real. At least it felt real. Last year in the same room, I was half asleep and I thought I saw a person standing in front of the glass sliding doors. It was the same kind of shape, but it was a lot taller. I brushed it off as being a shadow and I got up and tried to shut the blinds. Now, the next part of this story, I know it was probably a dream because I smoked a joint before bed. But anyway, I've heard of people seeing shadow people and I looked it up and most of it was Native American stories. Honestly, come to think of it, the female shadow could have been because the hair definitely reminded me of what I'd seen. And I live in an area where Lenape people were. My stepdad is part Lenape and he died in 2020. Probably a coincidence, but I'd love to hear if anyone else has a similar experience. Yeah.
It's weird because I don't know much about shadow people, but from the description it almost sounds alien-like actually.
Yeah, I mean,
big eyes.
From everything I've read about it, it's almost like it's always like a person.
What, shadow people?
Yeah, like the outline of a person, but just completely shadowy. But they do always say about like the long fingers, and they do always seem to have some sort of eyes.
Yeah, because the big eyes and then the long fingers, especially the ones fused in the middle, really sounds alien-like to me.
Yeah, rather than like.
And I definitely believe in, I believe in all of this, but I definitely believe in aliens. And I feel like it's very, I want to say arrogant even, to like believe that aliens aren't out there.
Oh my God, yeah. There's definitely got to be something out there. It can't just be us.
I find it so
in the
weird
whole
when
universe.
people completely dismiss aliens.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a slim chance of life being on Earth, but...
Life being on Earth?
Well, no, it had to be like the perfect combination of things to create life on Earth. And it was a very small chance of that happening.
I don't know anything about Lenape, if that's how we're saying it.
I'm
really sorry if we're pronouncing that wrong, and that's really disrespectful. But
Lenape, so.
But I don't know much about them, and I don't really know much about shadow people. But just in my head, it sounds very alien-like. Like it sounds quite grey.
Yeah.
No, the greys are different, No, the greys are, Sorry, I'm trying to really channel my inner Henry Zabrowski, who I know you don't know who that is, but hopefully some of the listeners will have listened to the last podcast and left and will know who Henry Zabrowski is, but basically, big alien man. And he's not an alien. Well, he might be. It would be a great cover.
A podcast about aliens by an alien. Maybe we're aliens.
I mean, to someone. No, it's not about aliens, the podcast. It's just, he's not a ufologist, but he's sort of... But anyway, I digress.
From everything I've seen on shadow people, because obviously we did the Man in the Hat.
Is it not the Hat Man?
Is it not the Hat Man? I don't know. When I put in the Man in the Hat, it just came up. I guess, potato.
Yeah.
I think everything does seem to be kind of similar. They are always human-shaped, obviously completely black. And then obviously sometimes they have like a specific detail about them, like the Man in the Hat has a hat. Obviously she thought it was a female figure because it had hair, and she said it has bangs. I suppose that's the bit. I'm like, the fact that she could see that it had bangs, because if it was just an outline,
that's weird, isn't it?
You wouldn't be able to see.
3D.
Yeah.
So what's my cryptid fill-in today?
Okay, so I'm throwing it back to childhood again.
Okay.
And we are
I thought you were going to be like, I'm throwing it back to children. I was like, yep, scary.
I mean, it's kind of creepy. And we're going to learn about some nursery rhymes.
It's not even a cryptid filling.
It is kind of a cryptid.
How are nursery rhymes cryptids?
Well, I've got no other heading to put them under, so they're going under cryptids.
Well, it's a creepy filling.
It is a bit creepy. I mean, I think now that I'm older, nursery rhymes are definitely creepy.
Well, they use the trope in many horror films.
Yeah, they are, and I do watch a lot of horror films. But obviously, they are supposed to be harmless fun for kids, and even though they are used to be creepy in horror films, because kids are creepy, and singing a nursery rhyme creepily is scary as shit.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of dark truth behind some of the famous British nursery rhymes.
So I know Ring and Roses.
Yeah, so I've got that one.
Okay.
Second. Well, we can do that first if you
Yeah,
want.
start with that one, because that's the one I know about the plague, innit?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't know, the lyrics are ring a roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. What I didn't realise, though, is that there's actually, like, loads of variations of them. And there's, in the traditional British one, there is actually 4 verses.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have all the verses if you want to hear them.
I mean, it's up to you. It's your episode.
So the next one is actually, the king has sent his daughter to fetch a pail of water, and then it still finishes with a tissue will fall down. And then the robin on the steeple is singing to the people. And then the last one is the wedding bells are ringing, the boys and girls are singing. So, yeah. Not really relevant, but I didn't even realise it was that long.
Yeah, so I understand the first verse of Pocket Full of Posies is talking about like a remedy.
Yeah, so that is correct. That is what they had.
You're impressed with what I know?
To be fair, I did know this before I did it as well, which was why I chose it.
Okay.
So yeah, the Pocket Full of Posies is supposed to be a preventive measure to ward off the infection.
It's almost like some people believe that taking sheep medicine will prevent COVID.
Those people be crazy. But actually there is a little bit about all 4 lines of it. So obviously they think that the rose is actually in reference to the rash that you would get if you were infected by the plague.
What, as in it's the red rash, or as in like the thorns would create like that sort of...
I think it's more like the red rash.
Okay.
And then obviously a tissue is people sneezing. And then lastly, we all fall down is, a euphemism for people dying and dropping dead.
Deadens.
So although those lyrics do kind of fit like that idea, it's actually not an accepted theory in a lot of like
it's,
like in
people with BS a lot.
yeah, in like people like historians who specialize in folklore are like, yeah, no, there's too many variations of it in different parts of the world.
I think as well, didn't it come about after the plague maybe, like, or it predates? There's something about the times don't matter.
Yeah, so the first time it was actually written down and published was in 1881, but there have been records.
That's post-plague, isn't it?
Yeah, so the plague was in 1665.
Yeah, I knew that.
But there were dates, like there have been dates back to like the 1790s as when people like started singing it.
Okay.
But obviously that's like the first records of it. I mean, is that just when records began of this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or also,
I guess when the plague was happening, people had other things to do other than write down nursery rhymes.
yeah.
You know,
But
like
then-
not dying.
Yeah, so obviously they did say as well that actually a rash wasn't a massively common. I think it was more like boils people
It is
got.
boils. So there's different. So again, last podcast on the left did a whole series on the plague.
Yeah.
I think it was like 5 episodes.
I
It was
mean, you
super
can
interesting.
really delve
so they
into
basically
it,
did a
can you?
5-hour episode.
Yeah.
Put it all together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a horrible
It's
way
disgusting.
to die. And it's quick.
Yeah, and it wiped out so
Did
much
you know
of the
plague is still
population.
around now?
Is it?
So
Don't
someone
surprise
died
me.
of the plague recently in America. I think. Oh god, I can't remember what the bloody animals are called. But there's certain animals that like.
I know there's like, I
Should
know
have
it
it.
carries in fleas and like lice and stuff like that.
But no,
But
there's an
I know-
animal in
is it-
America like I want to say a mole or a groundhog, but it's not that.
Oh, okay.
And they, so if you disturb this animal, you can still get it.
Yeah.
And I think 3 guys died in America recently of it, or got it recently, and maybe I think antibiotics have saved them.
Yeah.
You
I think-
can still get it.
Yeah, I think because it's so quick as well, and the symptoms are so severe.
Well, some of them are quick. Some of them are quick, and it's like you'll die really painfully, but it'll be like in hours. And some of them are
yeah.
like you'll die painfully, and it'll be in days.
Days. Yeah. Like, it was just horrible. I would hate it to be alive for that.
It was pretty hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, I say I would hate to be alive, but who knows that I wasn't?
I mean, we are
Previous
currently going
life.
for a sort of plague.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take this one over the plague.
Yeah, true. I mean, sanitation was a lot to play.
Yeah, and advances in modern medicine, and so yeah, there is a lot of like dispute over it is actually accurate. Also, as you said, people aren't going to be writing down when this started, but I did wonder maybe there was a version of it and they changed it in London around the plague to kind of make it fit and maybe try and teach kids about it. And
Yeah, I mean, it's a very easy rhyme in and of itself.
yeah, but it's just, I feel like people just teach their kids nursery rhymes and you're like, oh, actually, so you're singing about people dying in the plague. So yeah, next time you sing it, I feel like Ring a Ring of Roses has been used in like creepy horror films as well.
Yeah, like ring a rose.
Pretty sure it's used in a Doctor Who episode with creepy dolls. So I do have another nursery rhyme because obviously I did expect that would be quite short. And the other nursery rhyme is Mary, Mary, quite contrary. I don't know if you know any of the...
Yeah, I do.
So it goes, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Obviously with a tune, but I won't subject everyone to my singing. Again, this one does have loads of different ideas around it as to who it's about, but every single place that I looked, the one that they were like, yeah, this is probably the most based on one, was about Queen Mary the First, who was also known as Bloody Mary.
Ah, yes. I can't remember why she was known as Bloody Mary. Did she kill loads of people?
Yeah, so basically...
I think she was a bit of an icon, though. Like, I think we love her.
Yeah, so basically before her on the throne was her brother and her father. And I don't really want to go into history loads because...
Henry and Edward, wasn't it?
Yeah. I have a feeling she was a Catholic and the rest of her family were Protestant.
Well,
and she killed a load of the church who was highly powered at the time.
Her dad invented the Church of England, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Henry VIII invented the Church of England so he could divorce.
Yeah. And she wasn't happy about that. But then obviously a lot of when she came into power, a lot of the people around her were her father's and her brother's supporters. And then she had a lot of them beheaded or burnt at the stake. And one of the people she actually had burnt at the stake was her cousin's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, who was Lady Jane Grey. And they think that's where the pretty maids all in a row is like one of the like speculations of that's where that line comes from.
What, as in like dead ladies or whatever?
Yeah. So
or like waiting to be beheaded.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
Lady Jane Grey actually got burnt at the stake, and because she was charged with high treason, and apparently that was fitting for any woman who was charged with high treason.
What did she do?
So they were trying to. So it was like her and her husband and brother and loads of their cousins were planning a rebellion against the Queen's marriage plans.
What was the Queen's marriage plan?
I don't know. I think she wanted to marry a Spanish man, but Bloody Mary did give her 3 days to change her faith before deciding that she was gonna burn her alive. But yeah, so she gave her 3 days to say, if you convert to being a Catholic, then I won't sentence you to death. But fair play to her, she stuck by what she believed.
I would have changed in a heartbeat.
You'd have been like, yep, I'm a Catholic, I promise.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not anti-religion. I believe that people should believe in whatever helps them get through the days.
Yeah.
Life's hard if a God helps you, whatever. But I'm quite anti-religion. The fact of like I see it's done a lot of harm. So I have no religion. But if someone's like, I can burn you, or you can believe in God, I'd be on my knees praying. I'd be like, okay.
I think getting burnt alive would be
We've said this
horrible.
before. Yeah, it'd be horrible.
Horrible. It'd be so painful.
But yeah, good on her. She's got more of a backbone than I do.
Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of other theories as to the different lines, what they mean. So there's a theory that how does your garden grow refers to the fact that she didn't have any children. And that wasn't, from what I gathered, it wasn't through lack of trying. She had a couple of miscarriages, so it's kind of like a bit of a harsh line saying like how do you grow your garden when you can't produce any heirs? Yeah.
Well, like how do you
how do you expect the line to carry on if you haven't had any kids? The line, quite contrary, is just thought to be a reference because obviously she tried to reverse a lot of changes made by her father and her brother, but she was unsuccessful because obviously a lot of the other like advisors around her were still supporters of her father and her brother.
And I feel like they're definitely not going to listen to a woman who comes in and tries to change.
Yeah, also, she didn't actually reign that long.
No?
No, she came onto the throne in July 1553 and then she died in 1558.
Oh, 5 years.
Yeah. There is other things about, they thought like the pretty maids all in a row was also potentially something about a guillotine. So apparently she made a prototype of a new guillotine to behead people because she enjoyed it so much. But that was also known as a maiden.
Oh, was it? Oh.
So they did think, okay, she's lined up all like the guillotines lining up to behead people.
Oh.
And she did apparently sentence hundreds of Protestants to their death just for their religious beliefs and no other reason.
She was on one.
Yeah. She got a bit power hungry.
Yeah. I want ghost stories.
Okay, I've got one more
ghost.
Ghost bread?
Bread.
Oh yeah, bread. I forgot we were making a sandwich. My bad. So I've got one more ghost story for you. So this story was again sent to us on Reddit after our plea.
Desperately.
Yeah, our desperately. And this one is from the username Just Us Foals. So thank you for sending in your story. When I was growing up, our family home had its own ghost. We decided as a family that the ghost was called Sam and he would often respond to it. We never saw Sam, but he would often move things around the house. Not just small things either. Sometimes we would come down for breakfast in the morning and the chairs in the kitchen would have moved, or cabinets would have been opened and emptied onto the floor. Usually, if we asked Sam to stop, he would, and everything would go back to normal for a few days. He never broke anything, but the events were frequent and sometimes slightly annoying. We used to live next door to an overgrown family cemetery, which had graves dating back to the 1700s, and I assume Sam is someone who was buried there, and he would like to play tricks on our family. Fast forward to the present, and I've moved out of that house and in a completely new building. However, I'm still haunted by something. I'm assuming it's not Sam, as it's a completely different type of ghost and it doesn't react to that name. We have a shadow person that moves between rooms, and I've only ever seen it move out the corner of my eye, but you can almost guess when and where it's going to appear by how my dog reacts. My dog can definitely sense its presence and he completely changes when the shadow form is moving from room to room.
I would say for sure animals can see things we can't.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I always get a bit creeped out when my cat's like staring at something that I can't see and I'm like, what you
people
looking
are like, oh, they're
at?
just looking at dust, or like they just haven't got that many brain cells and they're just looking that way. But I'm like,
I mean, I get that with Albus, but Deli's smart. She's a clever cat.
It's when they...
Ooh, sleepy.
When your cats are... So I don't know if it's just me, and it's probably a really stupid thing to do now I'm saying it, but whenever like Karen's looking into the distance or something, I always try to look in her eyes, see if there's a reflection. Even though
I've never done that.
Even though, like, if she can see something and I can't, I'm definitely not going to be able to see it just because it's reflecting in her eyes.
Never know. You never know. I always look just to see, because sometimes, like, it looks like one of the cats is staring at something. And, like, I can't see it, but then when I actually look, I'm like, oh, it's a fly.
Yeah.
Or it is, like, a speck of dust. Deli likes to meow at stuff as well. Oh, she does, you know that weird, like, little quacking thing that cats do? Yeah, she does that as well. Which is fun. No, it's normally, like, she'll literally do it as, like, a dent on the wall.
Okay, so she's thinking it's a bug on the wall or something.
Yeah. Albus is the one who kind of stares off into the distance, and I'm like, is it a ghost or are you just an idiot?
Yeah, no, I also think it's really interesting when it's a new build.
Yeah.
Because I think it shows that A, you're either bringing something as a person, or or it adds credence to the fact that it's the land and not the building.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it being the land and not the building in some cases.
Which is why, like, so I do understand that they knock down, like, houses where, like, murders have taken place for obvious reasons. No one wants to be like, oh, yeah, like, this is my bedroom, and, like, in that corner, blah, 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 was stabbed or whatever. Like,
yeah.
No one wants to do that. Well, some people do, but no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
But from a ghost side point of view, and I guess they're not doing it from that point of view, they're just doing it out of like other stuff.
Yeah.
But on a ghost side point of view, I'm always like, you can build a new house there. Like,
But
the ghost's
that memory's still going to be there.
That tortured soul is still
Yeah.
going to be there.
Yeah, I don't see the point in knocking it down and rebuilding it because, yeah, I agree that there's something still going to be there.
Yeah, though I mean, I do still see the point because I think it's definitely like the whole...
I think if you don't believe in it as well, it will give that person a bit of peace of mind.
Yeah, and in general, it would be a bit... It's just a bit freaky, even if you aren't put off by stuff like that. Just to be like, oh yeah, like that area had someone die a really horrific death.
Yeah, if you can like see it. Yeah,
But even if you can't see it and you just know it was in that area.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, I agree.
You definitely wouldn't want to put your bed there.
No.
Unless you're me, who puts her bed underneath the radiator where the boxer hung himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't know that.
I didn't know, no.
And had you known it, you probably wouldn't have done it. Yeah, exactly. I think it's funny how they mentioned, again, the asking the ghost to stop. And it will for a bit. That comes up a lot, I've noticed. So there you go. If you're ever being haunted, just ask them to stop.
It depends on the ghost, because if it's like a malevolent ghost.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could still ask. It's not going to do any harm.
Don't ask, don't get. I do say that a lot. Don't ask, don't get.
Yeah, very true.
But then also, if you've got a malevolent ghost and you're like, please don't do that, it's going to be like,
Yeah. Or you can go like completely
or
opposite.
Ghost like me.
Or if that doesn't work, you can go completely opposite and be like, do it more, I like it. And creep them out and, like play them at their own game.
Could you imagine if you creeped a ghost out? And then they're like, yes.
I mean,
I'll go towards the light now.
I've met some people who are so creepy, they could probably creep a ghost out.
That is very creepy. Never introduce me.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't know them personally, but I've met them.
Well, thank you very much for my delicious creepy sandwich.
Yeah, it was just a creepy sandwich today.
Yeah, thank you for my creepy sandwich.
Anytime.
We're doing a few sandwiches lately. As a kid, I didn't really like sandwiches, but I do as an adult.
Oh, I love a sandwich. Just easy, aren't they?
As a kid, I just never really rated them. As an adult, I really rate a nice sandwich. Well, you were talking earlier about getting old, and I think one of mine is rating a good sandwich, enjoying a vest under my clothes on a cold day, and really enjoying bin storages.
Like, my mum got me a thermal vest for Christmas, and I was like, yeah, this is one of my favourite Christmas presents. And yeah, I think that's a sign that you're old.
Yeah, I think there's two types of people who wear vests. Adults, proper adults, and tiny children.
Yeah, clever people.
Well, I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be back in your ears next week with more spooky stories. Please send them in.
We do need more spooky stories, guys. This is us asking you to send us some spooky stories.
Yeah.
You can email us at truecrimecovenpod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Twitter at truecrimecoven.
Or on Instagram at truecrimecovenpod. We are so thankful for everyone who is listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your support. And absolutely, you don't have to, but if you would like to donate anything to the podcast, you can do so by going to ko-fi.com/truecrimecovenpod. That's ko-fi.com/truecrimecovenpod. Thanks for listening.
Stay spooky!